Video? We're up to speed. Lights, camera, Jake, action! That's the official radio production version of Santa Claus Rocks, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. It's part 2 of the 2019 holiday edition of the WILK Friday!
And as always, the Friday Beer Buzz is brought to you by Sabatini's Pizza and Sabatini's Bottle Shop and Bar, Wyoming Avenue and Exeter.
We're going around the horn here. Of course, Lindo Sabatini in the studio. Good morning, Lindo.
Hello.
All right, the guys from Breaker are here. Chris and Mark are both here. My wife is here this morning to keep an eye on me. Karen, hello. Amanda, our Director of Special Operations. And Becky, our guest, the celebrity brewer here from the Krantz Brewing Company this morning. Part 2 of the WILK holiday edition of the Friday Beer Buzz. We got 2 more to go.
Yeah.
I dare you to listen all the way through to the end.
Yeah.
Here's Bill from mybeerbuzz.com.
Hello.
Hello, Bill.
I thought Nancy was going to say the bee buzz. I thought we were going to start a whole new the Friday bee
I don't know what I
buzz.
was saying.
Today's honey is clover. So we traditionally kill some time with some some intro segments into these pieces. Today, in segment 2, we're going to do, like we did last year, the most popular stories, beer stories.
Most popular beer story.
Of 2019. And these are based on my site. They're based on mybeerbuzz.com.
Okay.
And heavily statistically researched.
I trust you, Bill. I'm sure that's accurate.
I had to take my shoes off to count the number of hits on these stories.
Perfect.
These are based on traffic. So these are our most traffic stories of the year.
Okay.
I'm going to sort of work my way backwards toward the biggest one of the year.
Well, I wouldn't have it any other way here.
And these are
Let's
not
do it backwards.
They're not always stories. Some of them are just beers that got a lot of traffic. So our first one, ironically enough, is Big Beer, Busch and Busch Light Outdoor Edition can. Got a lot of traffic. No, wait, it gets better.
Busch Light. Oh, man, let me add it.
Natural Light Seltzer.
Oh.
Big story of the year. Believe it or not, and Lindo will probably back me up on this one, Natter Days.
Not terrible.
A lot of people buying Natter Days.
Not terrible.
Well, listen, but
endorsements.
Lindo, ironically, or maybe not, I'm not sure, is wearing his festooned in holiday gear from the folks at the Pabst Blue Ribbon.
I know,
Brewing
I see
Company.
that.
And got his Pabst sweater on this morning.
It's my only Pabst sweater.
And the next one had an unfair disadvantage because it only happened a month or so ago, and it is Breaker Brewing Archibald.
Yay!
So you guys made one of the top stories. And this is national audience too. This isn't just an EPA audience. This is a national audience. So for that one to bubble in with just being announced October, November is pretty awesome. Next up, Southern Tier Nitro Pumpkin Cans Exploding.
I didn't know about that. I had no idea.
That was a popular one. They had a little bit of an overcharged nitro thing going on, and the cans were
some of the explosions are awesome.
Popping.
And in the meeting room at Southern Tier, it was like, 0.9? I thought you said 9.
Yeah. So this actually happened to my younger brother. My younger brother texted me a picture of an exploded pumpkin can and said, do you know anything about this?
Just randomly that was happening? Or
He said he put his...
Yeah, we had some in the shop that were...
They just went off.
You got to touch them, and they're super, super hard. Like, the whole can is really hard.
Because of the pressure.
As soon as you got to open it and the pressure releases, it comes out. The pressure.
So nothing happens until you
No, some popped on the shelves.
Wow.
They come in these cardboard sleeves, the paper sleeves. The paper sleeves were holding the cans together.
Wow.
So if you would take it, if you had them laying on the shelf without the paper, they would really open up and make a mess.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, my brother said it sounded like a gunshot, and his ears were ringing for hours. Wow. And his other two in the cardboard container, as Lindo described, blew the tops right off and blew a hole in the side of the container.
So this is a nitro in a can we're talking, right? So they put a little nitro widget or something in there. Is that right?
No, there's no widget in it, but what it is the pressure for nitrogenated beer is supposed to be lower carb levels. Yeah. They didn't do that.
Oh.
As much as they should have.
Wow. Yeah, and it's usually there's too much sugar, too much residual sugar and residual yeast in the can, and it continues to ferment and build up. This was not. This was a nitro charging issue in the beer.
Was this stuff bottled too? Do we know? It didn't go off in bottles?
Cans.
This was in cans.
I think nitros.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Next big story of the year. Founders, racial discrimination by an employee. That was a big story. Round and around and around it went. They settled out of court. That was a big story. Next one, combination of things. Two-Hearted Ale, Light-Hearted Ale, Double Two-Hearted Ale, and Black-Hearted Ale from Bell's.
Wow.
Very, very popular. Goose Island Bourbon County Stout variants. Every year that's a huge story because they make up fizzy oyster double chocolate.
Yeah.
They make up fake ones. Pabst Blue Ribbon Hard Coffee. There's representing the sweater.
Lindo's got his sweater on today.
The Stone Brewing 2020 release calendar. Big story for the year. The release calendars are always a huge story. Closures for the year. Boulder Beer, Lompoc, Bent Shovel, Lagunitas, Portland. Bridgeport Brewing, William K. Bush Crafted Brewing, I'm not sure if you've heard of that one, Avid Cider, Rock Bottom Portland, and we should put an addendum on the Boulder one that we will bring up in the next segment. There's a little bit of a change to that story.
Oh, okay.
So buyouts are a big story. Victory, new Philly location. That was a huge story on the site.
Yep.
I didn't think it was, but it was. The Stone versus Miller Coors Keystone.
Still raging, yes?
Huge story. Yeah, they just got...
And these are all, again, on mybeerbuzz.com.
They are, based on traffic, yeah. Right. They just got slapped with sanctions because they were not presenting... Miller was not presenting the evidence that they were required to by law. Yeah. So they just got slapped a little bit of a sanction. The number 2 story of the year is the Dogfish Head Samuel Adams merger, acquisition, buyout, whatever you want to call it.
And there were like 2 camps, am I right? There were people going, oh, yay, what a great combination. Other people are going, oh, no, the worst thing that could ever happen.
Yeah, I hate them all. I'll never make it again. I think they're great guys. We've had them both on the show. They are fun to talk to, fun to interview. If you've ever watched them do a video, they are so passionate about the beer.
No doubt.
It can't be bad.
Yeah.
That kind of synergy between these 2 passionate beer people, I think it will be great things. And the biggest story, and I would also call it, for me personally, the saddest story of the year, is the new Belgian Kirin Little Lion beverage buyout. I just, to me, New Belgium is a
story.
classic.
I thought you were going to say when you dropped that case of beer out of the trunk of your car.
Yeah, no, I've done that in a while.
That was sad, too, I remember.
Yeah, Little Lion World Beverages purchased New Belgium Brewing. They're no longer employee-owned. They're no longer independent. And they're one of the big ones. And we talked about it on the air a few weeks ago. It's a tough situation that they're in economically. I get it, but that one just hurt.
It's the old story, right? I mean, now it's at the point where saturation or oversaturation is happening, and there are people who are trying to rub 2 nickels together at this point.
Yep.
And somebody waves a check under your nose, and it's understandable how it could happen, right?
Yeah, back in the day, there were 123 breweries when they started. Now there are over 7,000 breweries. There's a lot of competition, and we talked about it.
My goal is to visit them all.
Yeah, one day. This
week.
There are people doing that. They just hit a point where they are no longer regarded as a small brewery, so they no longer attract that small brewing, local fresh crowd. And they're too small to generate the capital that they need to generate to grow the business to the next level, because a business their size requires a ton of capital to grow to the next level.
It's rocking a hard place.
And Kim Jordan, not content to just nope, we'll just stay the course here and have fun and drink the beer. No, she didn't want to do that. She wants to grow it. So we'll see. That one's yet to be, there's yet to be a punctuation mark on the end of that one, but we'll see.
Okay. Ooh, so what are we drinking here? What's what do we have in front of us here?
So segment 2, we have a beer that comes from Newport, Oregon, comes from the Rogue Ales and Spirits, and it is called Santa's Private Reserve. Now, we've done this beer year after year after year, and it was the same for many, many years, and it was sort of the first hoppy-edged beer that was also a Christmas beer. Right. Now there are several of them. But a few years ago, they started to change the recipe. And so for 2019, they've added a very, very unusual ingredient to it.
I think it's safe to say when you say they changed the recipe, because when I read the description of this, even before tasting it, I thought, whoa, what?
Yeah.
What?
And you know as well as anyone that it doesn't have to be a great beer. It just has to be a good story sometimes. This one, I think, happens to be a really good story and a pretty damn good beer. It is a strong ale, and it's made with candy cap mushrooms.
All right, see, now mushrooms, okay, like candy cap. Somebody help me with candy cap. What does that mean? Because I know about pinkies.
Yeah, so
that's what I know.
It's a variety and one of the few sweet fungi.
Candy cap is where the name is. Okay.
So it's a sweet mushroom, which is unusual. And this
my nickname in high school, by the way. Isn't that funny?
Just going to leave that one right out there.
He was always a fun guy.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. All righty.
There's so many ways.
I'm going to lay my mat out on the floor and stretch out for a little while now. I'll be over here.
There's so many ways mushroom jokes can go.
Yes.
This one is maple flavored. So there is no maple in this beer. If
Okay,
you're
so wait,
tasting
now,
it,
the maple is like something to do with the mushroom.
it's all to do with the mushroom.
So how does a candy cap mushroom, like a sweet mushroom, end up with like a maple? Because it is very. It actually tastes like there's maple in it.
It does. Mother Nature is playing a little joke on us all and said, "Here's a mushroom that is sweet."
But let me say, maybe you know, maybe you don't. If I find a candy cap mushroom somewhere and I pop it in my mouth, do I taste maple, or does this happen because it mixes with alcohol and everything else that's in a beer?
Well, I think when they revive you at the hospital and say you shouldn't have eaten it. Well, no, I'm kidding. We offer no medical advice about candy cap mushrooms. I suspect if they impart sweetness into the beer, they would impart sweetness on their own. This is 8.1% ABV, 20 IBU, and Rogue is one of my favorites. I got married with a custom-labeled Rogue bottle. I got to meet the brewmaster because of it. It's one of the very first beers I ever enjoyed.
Wait a minute. You had the brewmaster? Was that your wedding?
No. I got to meet him to design the label, to create. We got to create our own wedding beer.
Really
cool. How cool is that?
Yeah. Wow. So I have a fond...
How did I not know that? Or did I? And I was always drunk when you told me.
500 shows and we don't know that.
Liquid short-term memory. I'll bring it in sometime. I have several cases of it. It's a hazelnut brown nectar. It's called OBX brown nectar.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's outstanding.
So a fond place for me for Rogue. I love bringing it back. This is a really unique beer and a really great story. And I think you'll like it. I think if you like me...
chicken and waffles.
Yeah, if you like maple, this is a really good beer.
Well, it says on the side of the bottle, you can a good pairing would be bacon wrapped dates, chicken and waffles, and what was the third one? There's Christmas cookies, naturally.
Yum, yum.
And it's a collaboration with Santa Claus.
All right. So far this morning we've
I'm
enjoyed.
not joking. It's right here in the notes.
We've enjoyed St. Bernardus Christmas Ale this morning, and this time around it was Rogue Brewing's Santa's Private Reserve, and these are nice Christmas gifts. You can bring them to a party. Lindo, they stop by the place and pick some of this up.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Very good. All right. So that concludes part 2 of the special holiday edition of the WILK Friday Beer Buzz. Jake, hit it. Get a little music to take us home here, will you?
Oh, I don't know if we have
3,
music.
2,
No, because
1.
he's recording on that.
There we go. Jake rattling and roll back with part 3. This is the special 2019 holiday edition of the Friday Beer Buzz with